All right, now let's talk about waste. Okay, and we already went over a list of what the 7 types were. Let's look now at some of them more specifically. The production of defective parts is one type of waste. So extra inventory is built and hides the quality problems in mass production. Lean instead draws attention to a single defect. We're not overproducing. There's nothing to hide the one that's wrong. You have to have that part. You have to take corrective action. You have to find the root cause. A lot of times root cause analysis can be done a variety of ways. People use methods like the 5 whys, those kinds of things. Then you have to find a permanent solution. Lean is going to focus on finding a permanent solution, not putting a band-aid on a problem. And also, workers inspect their own production as they produce it. It doesn't go off to a separate inspection station and is inspected by separate extra people. Right. Overproduction and excess inventory. These are 2 related forms of waste. All right. When you make too many of something, overproduce it, then you have to store the excess inventory. All right. Once you have excess inventory, then you have increased costs, warehousing. You have to pay for the facility, the square footage. You have to pay for the electricity. You have to pay for the air conditioning. Then you have storage equipment. You got to have forklifts and pallets and racks and bins to keep all the excess inventory in that you just made. You have to have workers to maintain it. You have the workers who made the excess inventory. They could have been doing something else with their times because, remember, in a lean system, the workers are flexible. They have a lot of involvement. So if they're not making parts, they can do something else. Production costs. You have the raw materials, the machinery, the power, the maintenance. All of those are production costs that you made to make something you didn't need. And then you probably had to borrow money or you weren't using your money somewhere else. So it cost you money, the interest, or the interest you could have been earning, to pay for all that stuff on the list. So you can see how that ends up costing you money, right? Unnecessary processing steps. Work that adds no value is an unnecessary processing step. You've got energy and time on the machine. You've got utilization. You've got wear and tear. You have energy and time out of the worker, right? They could have been doing something else productive because that worker's flexible. So here's some examples. A product that has feature that the customer doesn't desire, we talked about that, or a poorly designed process, one that is not laid out well, so you end up with extra processing steps. Unnecessary movement of people and unnecessary transport or handling. These can come from a variety of ways. Inefficient workplace layout, inefficient plant layout, improper material handling methods. You're using a rack designed for one thing to hold something else, so you end up having to take extra steps to get it in the rack. Production equipment that's spaced too far apart. If there's no need for there to be 80 feet between step A and step B, why are there 80 feet between it? Is there a reason? If not, that's unnecessary movement. Not having the tools available. So, in addition, we also have things like not having tools available at the point of use. So say you have 4 pieces of equipment and they all require a Phillips head screwdriver sometimes, but you only have 2 Phillips head screwdrivers, so people have to move back and forth to get the Phillips head screwdriver. That's not a great use of their time. Each station should have a location for and a Phillips head screwdriver. That's how you avoid unnecessary movement of people. Equipment that's too large for the task. If you buy equipment that's much greater than what you need, that's ridiculous. Think about, for example, what I faced recently. A company makes a product, they make high value added products that sell for about $60,000 a kilogram. Okay, that's extremely valuable product. Usually their batch sizes, they probably only need to make about 250 grams of the product. So they have 3 different size reactors. These are very small. Now think again, they make a very high value added material. 5 liters, that's a gallon and a quart. 20 liters, that's about 5 gallons. And then 100 liters, that's about 25 gallon reactors. So if they only need 250 grams of something, does it make sense that they're going to make it in the 100-liter reactor? No. If all the reactants can be contained in the 5-liter reactor, they would use the 5-liter reactor. And then another sign of unnecessary movement in people or transport and handling is the conventional batch production process that's used in manufacturing. Right, workers waiting. Oh, this is a horrible kind of waste, because you know this to be true yourself. We find ways to amuse ourselves because we just need the time to pass if we're waiting. Sometimes those aren't the most productive activities. Not that they're intentionally detrimental, but they detract from what should be going on. One of those things would be waiting for materials to show up. So just-in-time manufacturing that wasn't happening for whatever reason. Waiting when the line is stopped to look after a defect or what's wrong. Waiting for repairs if you have an unexpected failure. Waiting for setup, long setup times. That's a long wait period. Or waiting for the equipment to perform processing step on the part. So this is a thing where, for instance, say you needed to put an image on a circuit board, but the artwork wasn't ready yet. You're going to be waiting on the artwork before you can do that. So you're going to do something else rather than doing the job you should. So workers waiting is a huge form of waste.